You know, samurai guitarist.
Yep.
Every man has his secrets.
Well, what are your secrets?
A lot of baby seals haunt my dreams. I don't really want to talk about it. But Stevie Ray Vaughan also has some secrets.
He does.
So let's talk about those, because those are more uplifting and fun.
Yeah, that's what we're getting into today.
I don't know anything about this.
There are a number of things, though, that you can do that anybody can incorporate. And they're things that people typically don't talk about with whole SRVs playing. And yeah, I got a couple tips.
Let's hear it. Well, number one, you got 3? Can we do 3?
Yeah, I got 3 hot tips.
All right, cool, great.
Okay, so the first thing that I have noticed when I've kind of broken down some Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff is that he really incorporates a lot of different rhythms when he plays.
Okay.
So a lot of people, when they approach the blues, it's a lot of eighth notes, quarter notes, and they'll just play kind of typical runs. Just run on sentence, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of the same thing over and over again. But Stevie Ray Vaughan, you hear him and he has these very, very interesting rhythmic ideas, and he switches between like triplet feel, eighth note feel, he leaves space. It's really quite interesting. So why don't we play something and see if you can hear as I try to mimic this idea. Listen for just different variations within the rhythm.
That was tasty. What happened?
Well, what I was really trying to think about was just like putting in those different rhythmic inflections on there. Letting that ring out for a while. Kind of like being a little bit behind the beat.
Saying something.
Like there, I'm like not just hitting on one feel the whole time through. Ba 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 ba. Like it's if you break it down just purely into the rhythms there, you hear Stevie Ray Vaughan do tons of that kind of stuff where he's moving it around and just creating really interesting rhythmic motifs. And I think if one were to want to practice this kind of thing, the best thing to do is do exactly what I did there. See what sounds cool when you just vocalize it with strictly a rhythm. Ba 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 ba. Something like that, and then you incorporate that into your playing. And if you try to really bring this sense of rhythm into your playing, you're going to come up with some really interesting things. And beyond that, just like listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and instead of just like figuring out what notes he was playing, figure out the rhythm he was playing, and then try to make your own notes with that. Really what it boils down to is just being equally as aware of your rhythms as you are of the notes. I think a lot of people really focus on the notes they're playing without thinking about creating interesting rhythms within them. And Stevie Ray Vaughan, chock full of interesting rhythms. So listen for that next time you pull up an SRV solo.
Just like you should be equally aware of how old these seals actually are. I thought they were adolescent seals. Nobody makes a big deal about that. It's always the babies that get the attention. But what you should do is sign up for this guy's course.
So I got 2 soloing courses, and the one that I think, like if you're into this kind of idea of thinking about musical storytelling, taking those things that you can play, the scales you already know, and turning them into something more, I'm going to go with my course, The Craft of Soloing. It's really focused on that idea of bringing a story into what you play, which is one of those things that a lot of people don't think about, but when it clicks, it takes your soloing to a whole new level. And I believe we got a promo code in the description.
For sure. I mean, I thought I could already solo, and then I took your course, and I was like, oh, this is actually like,
yeah,
I'm learning a lot myself.
That's the whole idea behind it. You watch it, and then you can start doing these things. You just turn that little thing in your brain, and it's going to take your soloing to the next level. And if you use the link in the description, I believe it's the first 15 of you to use that link are going to get that course like 75% off for $20.
Come on.
Heck of a deal.
Hurry, do it. Show my man some love.
Yep.
All right.
First 15 of you. Get it
so
while you
now
can.
that you've done that, hit us with tip number 2. What else we got?
So this is a thing that Stevie Ray Vaughan is a master of. People think of Stevie Ray Vaughan, they think of a guy who's just playing with intense intensity the whole time through. Like you think of like a guy going like that all the time, but there's actually a very delicate side to what he does. And my tip would be listen for the dynamics within his playing. Like there's highs, there's lows, and you can incorporate that within your solo. Why don't I try to play one and you can hear what that might sound like. So the idea there is just like, don't make it so you're just blasting the audience the whole time. That's gonna be fatiguing. That's gonna be kind of tiresome.
Nobody can do it like that. 110% all night long.
No.
That's wild. That's insane.
Yeah,
You're
it's
setting
just like,
yourself
I'm
up for burnout.
I'm tired already. But if you have those moments that are low, those moments that are high are that much bigger. Contrast is a wonderful thing to incorporate. And when you listen to Stevie, like, some of his gentle songs are really low, but then he brings in that intensity and it makes it sound so, so good.
Little recharge time.
Little recharge time.
In between the big hitters. Mm-hmm. One to go. Third tip.
Okay, so my third tip is every time you solo, you don't need to reinvent the wheel every single time. Bringing in some repetition is not only a great way to create something that your audience can gravitate towards, something for their ear to catch on to, some familiarity, but it's also going to make your life easier because it's one less thing that you need to play every time. So if you hear Stevie Ray Vaughan play, and a lot of his solos, like the turnaround, the last thing that he plays in the 12-bar blues, he might use the exact same or something very close to the exact same turnaround, all three choruses of the blues. And when you do that, you don't have to come up with that new thing every time. It also kind of acts as a little bit of a hook. Repetition, bringing it back to a familiar thing, works wonders a lot of the time.
Okay, repetition. Mm-hmm. Just like clubbing the listener over the head. Just clubbing.
So I'll show you one. This is in Pride and Joy. He plays this at the end of every solo.
Okay.
But you listen to solo, and like the solos are all different. But every time he comes back around to the... It's that same thing every single time. And
Bro,
so
you're so good at guitar. Like, take this man's course. Like, what in the hell? What in the world, dude? It's like wild.
I was like never that great at, I don't have a ton of natural talent. So what I had to do is I had to break down a lot of this stuff into things where I was like very formulaic about it. I had to like look for patterns and things that I could pick out. Like, it wasn't like I could just like listen to Stevie or anyone for that matter and be like, yeah, I can do that. I can hear it once and play it. Like, there's no musical genius within me. It's very much a pure formulaic thing. And you know where I teach that formula?
Where do you teach that? On the course that you can get a giant discount on if you're one of the first 15 people to do it?
You got it.
Should we take them out on a jam?
Yeah, sure.
What you pick the key.
People's key.
G is the people's key.
Sure, let's do G. Let's do like a slowish blues and G.
Oh, okay. Well, count me in. Thanks for watching. Go follow my guy here. Get yourself a discount on that course, and we'll talk to you soon. We did it again.
We did it again.
There we go.